We now have major updates on what is being considered in the White House in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell, one of the most notorious sex traffickers, along with Jeffrey Epstein. And I told you earlier in the show, apparently Trump's seriously considering pardoning Diddy. So he's kind of just like, let's just throw it all in there. What the hell? Diddy, Ghislaine. But first, reports, as we keep seeing, Trump increasingly frustrated with how Epstein's story has overshadowed his agenda, which is kind of like, which one do you want them talking about? Do you want people talking about your friendship with Epstein, or how you're going to lead to mass suffering through ripping away Medicaid from people? Your agenda or Epstein? And then Trump in rage mode as Epstein's storm refuses to die down. The president's attempting to keep calm in front of cameras, but behind the scenes, he's fuming. Then when he gets asked, he'll either ramble about how it's fake and Obama did it, or that was so long ago, or lately he said that Epstein stole people from him, and the other option is just walking away.
With China. Thank you.
Mr. President, what did you think Epstein was stealing those women for?
Thank you, press.
There we go. And with that in mind, on this Ghislaine Maxwell, which would be utterly disturbing if Trump ended up pardoning her or commuting her sentence, is kind of inching in that direction. Here's the couple of times he's been asked about it, and I'll show the latest information we have.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something
recommended.
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out.
So not ruling it out, which is very notable. I think most people, you would go, oh, Mr. President, are you considering pardoning a horrific sex trafficker? And before the question all the way out, you would go, no, of course not. But he says he hasn't thought about it yet. Then he also always puts in this caveat of I'm allowed to, which is not the question. Everyone knows you have the legal route, right? But is seemingly pre-justification for it.
Rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed. Is that something you would ever consider, and why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it.
So Ghislaine, get on it. Take me to dinner. Sheesh. Have someone reach out to me. Kind of feels like that's what he's saying. No one's even reached out to me. No one's even asked. I'd say yes. Terrible. And then here is Ellie Honig identifying speculatively what could be happening here. And then we'll read just a piece of the conspiracy of a Ghislaine Maxwell pardon or something like that I think charts out exactly what might be happening here, which could be horrific.
It would just mean that any testimony she gives to Congress cannot be used against her moving forward. So that sort of puts the ball over in Congress's court. And I think it's telling that so far Congress, as you said, Wolf, has said we're not giving her immunity. That sort of begs the question to me, why would you have subpoenaed her in the first place if you're not willing to do what it takes to actually get that testimony?
Maxwell's lawyers are still angling for a possible pardon, something President Trump has yet to rule out. How could this impact possible testimony?
Well, to me, it raises questions about Ghislaine Maxwell's credibility. We did see at the end of her letter yesterday an open plea from Ghislaine Maxwell's defense lawyers to the president for a pardon or commutation. I guess you can do that. It's a little bit unbecoming. But the question that it raises is, here you have a person who's begging, really, for her life for a pardon or commutation, yet the very person who can give that to her, of course, is only one person, Donald Trump. And so it raises a question of, is she really going to be able to be fully truthful and credible and forthcoming about everything she knows about Donald Trump, or might she be incentivized to try to soften any edges relating to that one person who has the power to give her what she wants here?
She's serving a 20-year.
Yeah. She and her family seem to understand that even without it being agreed to verbally or kind of like wink wink about, just, are we really going to get help from Trump here, who's the person who could help her, if we were to reveal anything damaging on him? But if what we say, truthful or not truthful, is purely damaging to the people he doesn't like, and then we try to portray Ghislaine as actually maybe she was a victim of Epstein, which absolutely not the case. The victims have made that abundantly clear. The evidence has made that abundantly clear, etc. Her conviction making that clear. But that's why it should worry us so much, that we've seen people in Trump world start to go, maybe she was actually a victim. Because why else would you bring that up, that random thought up, if it weren't to kind of lay the groundwork for something? Public Notice by Liz Dye, but this is ERUPTS Substack, wrote, "The conspiracy to free the world's most notorious sex trafficker. QAnon is fake, but Trump's corrupt deal with Ghislaine Maxwell is real." And right now there's speculation here, but following the series of events leads you to a scary conclusion that we need to call out before it happens, obviously. So you had Trump's former lawyer and the current Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, go and sit down with Ghislaine Maxwell. Very unusual. And let me read for you some of this. Blanche reportedly spent 9 hours huddled up with Maxwell and her lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, and no one else. In normal circumstances, an experienced prosecutor would conduct a high-stakes interview in the presence of a law enforcement agent to act as a witness. If the interviewee later changes her story, someone needs to be able to testify about what was actually said, and that someone cannot be the lawyer. Moreover, Blanche has minimal ability to assess Maxwell's credibility in the context of the interview, something that's critical when the subject is a prolific liar who is already indicted for perjury. The Maxwell and Epstein case files run to hundreds of thousands of pages, including hundreds of witness interviews. It's not something that he could have familiarized himself with on the flight from Dulles to Tallahassee. There was a lawyer in the Justice Department who had the granular facility with the documents because she prosecuted Maxwell and prepared the indictment of Epstein, and that was Maureen Comey, who they just fired. And then it says, and so it seems most likely that this exercise is preparatory to a pardon or commutation if Maxwell can offer Trump something he actually wants. And it goes, it's not one example, it's going to have to be something pretty significant. Trump has made quite clear that the quid pro quo is dirt on prominent Democrats, as he keeps repeating that we should look at this person, we should look at this person. And so if Maxwell wants out, she better start singing about blue birds only. And then it talks about the prepping of the base, the Greg Kelly quote, going incorrectly portraying her in a victim's role. Because then if you could say, wow, we could get huge dirt, we could get more truth from someone who's notoriously not credible, but we have to make a deal with her. And she, without this ever really being said, can know from those facts that were laid out, all right, how am I going to get myself out of prison? It's going to be giving Trump exactly what he wants, which is not the complete unvarnished truth. It's whatever truth puts him in the best position and hurts the people that he doesn't like. And so a really scary piece there from Public Notice. And this is, we don't know that that's where this is headed, but enough of the, I could do it. And then Trump allies going, she actually might be kind of victim, and we might have to make a deal with her too. And then Todd Blanche, Trump's former attorney, being the one interviewing her, no one else in the room except for the other lawyer, and him not being kind of really the person with the type of experience and the knowledge of this case to even conduct such an interview, seeming much more with all of the other cover-up aspects of how Trump has handled this, headed in the direction of what Public Notice lays out there than something else. Now, because they insist on making this story more insane every time, and as we fight and sometimes debunk Epstein conspiracies on this show and want to only stick to the facts on it, they make it so difficult. Like headlines such as this: mysterious orange shape raises more questions about Epstein footage. Huh? Wait, huh? So we already had the saga of they released some footage, hallway camera, not the one pointed at the cell, those weren't working, but the ones over here of the hallway. We discussed how, reviewing the publicly available evidence, I think the official story is correct, that Epstein killed himself. But if you were not wanting to believe that, then you get slapped in the face with reasons every 2 seconds. Like, we released the footage. Oops, there's a minute missing. Pam Bondi goes, oh yeah, that's just like a normal reset mechanism. It misses a minute once an hour or once a day or something. But that's all. That's nothing suspicious. And then we learned 3 minutes is missing for the footage. Okay, well, stop. Just fine. And then Apparently, the footage has, this is a screen grab, what the Daily Beast is reporting is a strange, grainy, orange blob that moves in the video. So I don't even care. I don't even care what the hell that blob is. But why is there a blob now? Only a sliver of the staircase that led to Jeffrey Epstein's cell was visible to the security camera. Still, a grainy orange shape can be seen ascending the stairs in Epstein's direction the night of his death. And so you have experts say there are flaws with the official explanation for why a shadowy figure moved in the direction of Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell the night he died. A mysterious orange shape was recorded ascending the stairs to where Epstein's cell was located, which federal investigators previously concluded was a corrections officer. Okay, it's an officer carrying up linen or inmate clothing on Epstein's final night alive. Connor McCourt, a retired NYPD sergeant and forensic video expert, told CBS News he disagrees with the conclusion reached by the DOJ's Office of Inspector General. It's more likely it's a person in an orange uniform, he said, skeptical that it was one of the prison guards, and there's a great deal of importance of who walked there and all of that. So there was this motion. Yeah, that looks like someone in a prison outfit, you know, or it's Trump. When I saw this headline, I was like, let's just all pretend it's Trump. An orange shape. He's just naked, but he oranges his whole body. So it's just like, that's just him. It's just him. Okay, that's what I'm going to believe now. I think Trump did it. I already accused Barron Trump of it. Now I'm accusing Donald Trump. Melania, you're next. Be careful. All right. So the orange blob experts, at least one, is saying he doesn't agree with the assessment that it was a corrections officer carrying up linen or inmate clothing. So was it an inmate? It could have been an inmate. Who knows? Walking around. They just let him out for fun. I don't know. Who cares? Me, I care, but whatever. Shut up. What is happening? How is that real? I feel like I'm watching a true crime, not even true crime, a fictional crime show. And we did catch on the footage when they said no one was there, an orange man with a red tie. An orange man. And despite it being very grainy, you notice that his ankles are the size of an elephant trunk. All right. Get out. Get away. Go. Leave. Live your life. Goodbye. I appreciate you. Leave a rating and review if you're a podcast listener.